Hello students, welcome to online classes of geography of class 12. Now you people will be thinking what ma'am is going to show us today. You are thinking that ma'am will do some sort of art and craft work or what? No, actually I have kept some cotton over here. You can see some cotton balls. Now from these cotton balls, what is being kept beside that? We are getting the threads. And from these threads and yarns, the fabric that is being made, it's a fabric. So a cotton, this is cotton. From the cotton we got these threads. You can see these threads are there. We got these threads, and from these threads a fabric has been formed, or it has been made. So a cotton is transformed into a thread, and a thread is being transformed into a fabric. So this is a serial, it's a sequence, it's a going on a chain like thing. So now what do you think? What is the today's topic we are going to discuss about? Cotton comes from what? Cotton comes from primary activity, that is agriculture. But the raw material, that is the cotton, is transformed into thread through machines, and again the thread is being transformed into a fabric through machines. So this transformation of the raw material into a finished product, that is what termed as secondary activity. So today's chapter is secondary activity. Now we are going to discuss some of the topics under this chapter. This is my first class of this chapter. So what are the topics that I am going to discuss today? The topics are: number one, what is the difference between the primary and the secondary activities that we discussed in the previous chapters, the primary activities. So today we will discuss what is the basic difference between primary and secondary activities. Then definition of manufacturing. Then comes, we are having types of manufacturing. So first we will discuss about the characteristics of modern large scale manufacturing, which is largely there in the present world, and all the industries has some specific location. Everywhere we cannot see the industries have been developed. So what are those factors that influences the location of industry will be our last topic of discussion. Now let us proceed with the first topic, that what is the basic difference between primary and the secondary activities. Now you can see the first is the primary activities is the agricultural, is also termed as agricultural and allied service sector. And what is the secondary activity? It's known as manufacturing sector. Now why it is so? I have showed the cotton that comes from agriculture, and I have showed the cloth also that comes from manufacturing sector. So that is why agricultural sector and manufacturing sector. Now the second difference is, this sector, that means primary sector, produces goods and services by exploiting what? Natural resource. Cotton is a natural resource, so we are exploiting it with the help of the method of agriculture. So we are exploiting the natural resource. And secondary sector transform one good into another by creating more utility from it. Now it is transforming, that natural resource is transforming into more utility products. So the first utility product from a cotton we got yarn, and the second utility product we got fabric. Now the third difference, agriculture or primary sector is basically traditional and unorganized. It is unorganized, but a secondary sector, it is having much more better techniques and organized sector. Next, what are the activities that comes under the primary sector? As we all know, agricultural, forestry, fishing, mining, animal husbandry, all these are included, and it includes what? Manufacturing units, which can be of small scale, which can be of large scale, which can be of multinational companies. All these are coming under the secondary sector. And what is the last point of difference? Now we can see that huge number of laborers are employed in agriculture or in forestry activity or in mining activities. So these are labor intensive activities. And secondary sector, we can see maximum work is done by the machineries. So these are capital intensive activities. So these are the basic difference between primary sector and secondary sector. Now we'll discuss about the basic thing, that what is manufacturing. Now manufacturing is basically a Latin word which is derived from the Latin word manufactus. Now what is the meaning of that Latin word manufactus? Made by hand. But in the present scenario, the definition of the manufacturing is not made by hand but made by machines. Now what will be the second definition? It is transformation of the raw materials. It's transformation of raw materials into finished products. Now, till now we discussed a very simple definition of manufacturing. Now just discussed about the detailed, or what we can say, a scientific definition of manufacturing. Now manufacturing is to plan and deploy an optimum way of transformation. That means the maximum the way we can transform a material into goods. And what is its basic things needed for this transformation? By integration of people, capital, processes, system, enterprises, deliver products of value to society. That means the labor is needed, capital is needed, what is the process that we are applying to produce the goods, what is its system of that is looking after the enterprises, then how the transportation is being done, the delivering of the goods, and to whom? To the society. So in this way, the basic definition of the manufacturing is to plan and deploy an optimum way of transformation through various processes, and it's rendering its services, and that is delivering its products to the society. That is manufacturing. Now let us see some common characteristics of manufacturing. Now manufacturing is actually application of power. Now as we have seen, it's a capital intensive activity. So here maximum work is done by the machineries. So we need power to run the machines. Second, it's a mass production. Mass production of what? Identical products. Now in a manufacturing unit, you cannot find out, suppose it is dealing up with some parts of automobiles. So there you will get only a one specific part of automobile. You will not get the tire, you will not get the other accessories or other things in that same unit of manufacturing. So it is identical products manufacturing, that is termed as mass production of identical products. And these is lastly here everybody cannot do the work of manufacturing. For this, basic intelligence, basic knowledge is required to activate or to do the work. So here the labors are specialized. So the third characteristics of all the manufacturing units is specialized labor. Now normally we are adding one word with it, manufacturing industry. Now industry means what? Industry is actually a geographical site. Industry is actually what? Industry is a geographical site or a location. Now what we are doing, where the process of manufacturing is held out. So now normally when we use the word manufacturing, it is just a synonym to that. We are using it in that order, manufacturing industry. Why? Because the process that is being held out, it needs an ideal geographical location. So we term it as a manufacturing industry. Now the characteristics and all has been discussed. Now let us proceed to the next part, that is modern large scale manufacturing. Now let us discuss about the features of the modern large scale manufacturing. The number one is specialization of skills or methods of production. Now, what does the specialization of skills and production means? It means basically a person perfect in a work or task or machine that is working for what? For increasing efficiency and effective production of organization. So, in short, we can say production efficiency is specialization of skill. Now, next, mechanization. Now, just I am supporting this with the help of a example. Hopefully, your people are aware about washing machine. Now, most of the houses are now having a washing machine. Now, when we are having an automatic washing machine, it's our work is just to put the clothes with the detergent and water and the tap to be open to do the work, and we'll just do the programming according to the fabric that is being given over there to wash it out. So, we'll just switch it on and we'll program, and the rest of the work will be done by the machine itself. It is automation. And if we are having semi-automatic machines, then after doing the part of washing, then the machine will give a beep sound that it's been done. Then we will shift it to the that is the washing part, that is a rinsing part, and then it will be dried up. So, this is related to a semi-automatic work. So, what does this indicate? In the industry, mechanization means automation, and who is there to control this automation? By computer system. So, mechanization is termed related to the automation. Now, the third one is related to technological innovation. Now, technological innovation means new technology is to be introduced. Why? Because we know when we use the word industry or manufacturing sector, that means a production is there, huge production. But what are some drawbacks of it? It creates lots of pollution, it creates lots of waste products. So, when we are there to create the research work through technological innovations, what is our motive? The first motive is to improve the standard of quality, to reduce the waste that is continuously there due to that manufacturing activities, and to control the pollution level also. That is related to technological innovation. And the last one is organizational structure and stratification. Now, every large scale manufacturing sector is totally a large unit. It's a very complex unit. Now, when it is a complex unit, that means the machinery that is working over there is also not a very simple one. It is having a lots of complex technology of machinery. Now, when this complex machinery technology is there, that means the labor that is going to perform their work, they should be very much specialized, and secondly, there should be division of labor. Now, why there should be division of labor? To reduce the cost of production. If the division of labor is there, that means that work will be much more specialized and it will be much more faster. It will be having a mass production and the cost of production will be reduced. Now, when we are there to increase the productivity, obviously we need, and it is having a complex machinery technology, that means large investment is there, so it required vast capital. As I already said, a large organization is there, and all these organizations to be controlled by a good set of managers, that is executive bureaucracy. Someone is there to look after each and every aspect of the manufacturing part, so that has been done by the executive bureaucracy. So, these are the characteristics that is related to the modern large scale manufacturing. Number one is specialization of skill. Number 2 is mechanization. Number 3 is technological innovation. And lastly, number 4 is the organizational structure and its stratification. Now, we are moving to our last topic for discussion of today's class, that you have seen that industries are not located everywhere. There are certain specific locations where industries are localized. So, what does this indicate? That why there is uneven distribution of industries throughout the world. So, there are some factors that influences the location of industry. Now, just let us proceed with what are the factors. You can see the first one, it's related to the raw material. The access to the raw material is one of the important factor related to the location of an industry. Now next, when raw material is to be processed out, we need machines. Now when machine is needed, what is needed to run the machine? We need fuel and power. So that is the second factor, that is access to power resource is the second factor. Now whether the raw material to be transported or to be sent to the industries, or the distributed finished products to be distributed throughout the different parts of the country or the world, and we have to find it out that where the demand is really needed, how much it is needed. So how we can get the help of all these informations, or how we can proceed with the distribution work? It is due to the development of the transportation and communication system. So that is the third factor. Now everywhere we cannot, now suppose raw material is also there, power is there, everything, but we need a certain area, certain ideal site, a level land where we have to develop the infrastructure of an industry. So the fourth factor is development, or the geographical site and the land for the development of an industry. Now next, all those who are there to run the machines, that is skillful laborers is another important factor. But not only that, another thing, that labor should be available from the nearby areas, otherwise the cost of production will increase. So cheap labor supply is the next factor for the location of an industry. Now everything has been produced, but there is no one to consume it, no one is there to buy it. So it will be total wastage for that industry. So what is it? Nearness to the market. Next factor is related to the nearness to the market, and then only it will be very much beneficial for the industry. Now we are talking about so many things, but if we don't have the money, the capital to buy the machineries, to buy the raw materials, to get the power resources, to pay the wages to the labor, then how is it possible to establish an industry? So very most important factor is capital. Now next, it is not, the entire country's land is not a private property, it is related to the government property. So when we have to establish an industry, the first thing is to take the permission from the government. So unless and until government is giving the permission, government policy is not there, then it is very difficult for us to develop an industry or to locate and to establish an industry. So government policy is also one of the factor. Now next, it is agglomeration economies. Now when a particular industry develops, so what is it? It gets the benefit of transport, gets the benefit of market, it gets the help of financial support. Now when all these supports are there, what is the resultant? The other subsidiary industries develop. Now when these subsidiary industries develop, getting the or using the benefit of the main industry, like just giving an example, when a cotton textile industry develop, nearby what are the other industries that it can develop? That is the tailoring industry can develop, or dyeing industry can develop, packaging industry can develop. So similarly, the subsidiary industry, they develop. Why? Because they get the benefit of all the facilities that the main industry is getting. So all together we term it as a agglomeration economies. So these are the factors that is basically helping to develop an industry. And just there is listing out all the factors one after the other: raw material, fuel and power, transport and communication network, site and land, labor, market, capital, government policies and agglomeration economies. Now it is your work to jot down all these things, but you have to explain all the factors by giving example, either it from the world or from our own country. Now any doubt you are having, just mention it in the comment section. The doubts that you are having, please, without any hesitation, mention it in the comment section. And thank you for following today's class. Have a nice day.